I heard you had a dream. What did it tell you?
Welcome to the Neurovisionary Podcast. I'm your host, Sophia Sunshine. So today I'm going to share with you what was the actual presentation that I gave at my final master's degree presentation, which I know this makes me a total nerd, but as you'll find, I do enjoy these things, putting together experiences, stories, images, but it really does come back to what the story is that we're living and we're telling ourselves, and then how our dreams are interconnected. This also expands on what I've already shared with you, which really is the foundation of the research I did over the last 2 years, unmasking as a late diagnosed autistic woman using dreams, art, and memoir. So I hope you enjoy this. So the title is Unmasking Neurodiversity Through Dreams, From Meltdown to Unmasking. In the late summer of 2022, I was struck down by a profound explosion of chaos, panic, and overwhelm, a meltdown, a total flattening of all my systems, pure sensory whiteout. It happened while sitting in a van at a gas station on the edge of Twin Falls, Idaho. It was supposed to be a simple stop to refuel and grab food before my husband and I continued our drive south. This was our second summer of moving from Oregon to Arizona. That morning had seemed harmless from the outside. We woke, grabbed coffee, and visited the local hot springs. It was while trying to decompress that the alarms started going off. Finally, after we left the springs, we made our way through cow pastures and cornfields until we came to Twin Falls. As I sat at the gas station, I made a call to order lunch. Within seconds of reaching a person, I was told, "I can't take your order. Our online menu isn't up to date. Just come in," the woman said, then hung up before I even had a chance to answer. In this moment, something snapped. I didn't want to come in and order, or to take more time getting on the road. In this moment, I lost it. All sensibility was shattered. Rage poured through me as my body split into a full-blown tantrum erupted. A meltdown, a collision between my frayed nervous system and the facts of reality. My voice rose, my fists landed on the steering wheel as tears streamed down my face. My heart pounded as I gasped for air. Needless to say, my husband was alarmed. Running to my side of the van, he tried to soothe me, his eyes wide as he asked what was wrong. But I couldn't speak, couldn't function. I collapsed across the steering wheel, barely breathing. I was malfunctioning, no longer in control. My brain was on fire. Eventually, I came to and was forced to drive. We were in 2 separate vehicles and needed to get on the road. Even after picking up lunch, I was still shaking, lost beneath feelings of shame and confusion. I couldn't help but wonder what had happened. It felt like something had ruptured, but I had no context. Only a hollow, frayed feeling of shock as my mind searched for a thread to follow, a reason. I needed to be alone with this immense feeling. And yet somewhere inside me, a voice reached out from the void. As I sat at the stoplight waiting to get back on the highway, it spoke. "You need to look up late diagnosed autism in women. I froze. What? The voice repeated, clear and direct. You heard me. Look up late diagnosed autism in women. This would be the moment that everything changed. It was on this drive across hundreds of miles of desert, mountains, and sky, from Oregon to Arizona, from one life to another, that a portal opened. Once home, life carried on. I dipped in and out of my research into autism in women, drawn to stories that echoed similarities to my own. But I didn't know what to do with the information. I was trying to start over in a new town, a new life, post-pandemic. Years had gone by since my previous burnout, where health issues kept me from carrying on more consistent work. I yearned for purpose, but instead felt lost. Something inside me had changed. The skills I'd once relied on, my capacity to show up, organize, and perform, no longer worked. The effort of making friends, attending social events, and participating in even a supportive community was too much. I found myself slipping into exhaustion, depression, and eventually collapse. My long COVID symptoms intensified as my world grew smaller and darker by the day. Creating a path forward. Once again, I would be urged by my unconscious, guided to enter the Individualized Masters of Arts program in October of 2023 at Antioch University. At the same time, I began attending a second training in a process called dream tending. Over the next year and a half, I recorded the images, characters, and the events of over 175 dreams and active imagination journeys. I also studied the work of Carl Jung, James Hillman, and other scholars of depth psychology. A transpersonal lens, paired with an experiential-based learning approach, encouraged my natural inclination toward making art, storytelling, pilgrimage, and the study of consciousness. I was officially diagnosed as autistic and ADHD in the following year and would use this degree as a means to creating a path to unmasking. So what is autism? My research quickly uncovered a wide range of people of varying degrees of difference and disability. A tragic and sometimes violent pattern of institutionalization paralleled the morphing definition of autism within an evolving field of Western psychology. Current times bring further consideration, study, redefinition, and understanding of how autism can be traced to biological, genetic, environmental, and neurological differences. Personal stories of women who were also late diagnosed autistic, along with recent studies, proved that differences in how women express while validating my own experience. What is masking? For those who remain undiagnosed, masking begins in childhood and becomes second nature. It involves building elaborate personas to hide autistic traits, to blend in and meet social norms. Over time, these masks become embedded in the psyche and soma, not erasing the true self, but burying it beneath layers that grow heavier with age. Like many neurodivergent individuals, I often felt out of place, fatigued, and overwhelmed by the world. Childhood was shaped by complex social rules, the complications of being bullied, self-harm, and expectations of success that I never stopped trying to meet. Internalized pressure, judgment, and suppression of neurological needs often leaves late-diagnosed autistic women struggling with higher than normal rates of depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation. Not to mention a barrage of chronic health problems. I was familiar with all of this. Dreams and the work of Jung. As I dove into the work of Carl Jung, I learned that dreams and active imagination offer insights and understanding into a person's unconscious motivations. The images of dreams revealed a symbolic language through which unconscious beliefs and feelings could be brought into consciousness. Jung called this process individuation, the path by which a person could discover their authentic self. Unmasking as individuation. From here, using the foundations of Jung and Hillman, Eisenstadt, and other scholars of depth psychology, I set out to use dreams, art, and the process of writing a memoir to understand my neurodivergent experience. What unfolded was a deep, nourishing dive into my unconscious life. Images from dreams, life events, and my active imagination revealed personas, behavior patterns, and beliefs that previously lay hidden. My relationship with myself and others slowly began to shift. The art of dreams. In the early months of unmasking, art offered a way to express what I felt that could not be described with words. Having been an artist and a visual thinker for all of my life, this provided a sense of clarity and relief. This first piece of art was done early in my unmasking journey. Working with dreams evoked a shift in consciousness, merging what was once a confusing and foreign dream world with everyday events. The two worlds began to echo each other through synchronistic signs and symbols, validating that something greater was at work. As I faced continued health issues, I began using active imagination journeys as a way to discharge, shift, and heal physical symptoms. I received healing remedies through my dreams, while I also studied the ancient Greek and Egyptian origins of dream healing. Slowly, over time, my state of physical, emotional, and mental health began to shift as I became conscious of my needs. This painting reflects a journey that called me into deep rest. In this experience, the black butterfly appeared, also known as the death moth. White prayer flags are often put out by the Tibetan Buddhist people after a person has died, and the flowers that appeared were cosmos. This painting illustrates how the images of my dreams and visions continued to inform my process of unmasking. Jung found that as a person becomes more involved with their own unconscious material, shadow aspects or complexes will arise. These are often rooted in childhood wounds involving parental figures and/or society. Reviewing fairy tales specific to the mother and daughter relationship gave further insights into how women who are late diagnosed may struggle to establish their own identity. Having a very close and yet complicated relationship with my own mother gave further lived experience in working through unconscious complexes and masks I'd developed. I used active imagination, poetry, and art to explore, reflect, and transform many of these lifelong patterns. As I became aware of unconscious drives, shadow elements, and psychic entanglements, I began to understand how these things were impacting my physical and mental health. Over time, I reoriented my relationship with my mother, and I experienced yet another significant shift in my health. Through the process of collecting and analyzing dreams, specific themes arose, including questions of identity, relationship to self, body, family, friends, the outer circle, and the world. Through my dreams, I was confronted by gender relativity in relation to body image, speech, and personal expression, while other dreams helped to reveal medical or natural health methods that would offer relief in the face of chronic illness. The dreams never failed to speak, uncovering layers of unconscious motivations influencing my daily choices, many of which had become quite restrictive due to health struggles, emotional dysregulation, and mental fatigue. Taking the time to unmask revealed the unpredictable nature of meltdowns and the hard-to-accept reality that no matter how regulated I felt or looked, at any moment this state could be overturned by external stimuli. Being autistic is a highly intense and personal experience. Writing provided a means of accessing forgotten memories from childhood, trauma, and the opportunity to devise new meaning. Reviewing my life through a neurodivergent lens also revealed many previously unidentified autistic traits. It was through much challenge and emotion that I found clarity, strengthened my convictions, and courage to share my authentic voice. My visual and intuitive way of feeling and seeing the world was finally given space on the page, and with it, both the dreams and my neurodivergent experience of the world took shape. I have finally started to understand my own neurological needs through the process of unmasking. Since conducting this experiment to unmask using dreams, art, and memoir, I have regained levels of health I haven't felt in years. I finally feel a sense of purpose, inspiration, and creativity urging me forward. So thank you for being here with me. This has been a very personal journey, and it's an interesting place to be, bringing all of this forward in order to hopefully help others on their own path to unmasking or individuation. And I will say, you don't need to be neurodivergent necessarily to benefit from listening to this podcast or unmasking. We are talking about individuation, whatever supports your authentic self. And my hope is that this is a different view of seeing the world, different way of knowing and thinking and feeling. And I don't really think it's that different anyway. I mean, it's normal to me. But I do know that in the past, this has always been a great gift to my students. It's been a gift to my friends and family because it gives them access to a different part of themselves. So I hope that whether you're neurodivergent or neurodivergent curious or not even neurodivergent, if you're interested, that you join us and we can all see what the dreams have to tell us. So thank you so much for joining me here at the Neurovisionary Podcast. I'm your host, Sophia Sunshine.
I heard you had a dream. What did it tell you?